29 of the weekly recovery coaching call. My name is Omar Pinto. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The weekly recovery coaching calls, well, we help people that are potentially or possibly struggling with something in their life currently, or they have an objective or a goal they'd like to accomplish and could use a little support and a little guidance. So who would like, actually, Stephanie, I would love to know how you are doing since our last session.
I've been doing better. I've been working and making myself more vulnerable. And I actually did them in the mirror and write them down. And I started recording myself so I can do like a time lapse of them.
Look at you. Impressive.
It's there.
Yes,
It's
yes.
there somewhere. Just got to get to it.
It works. Well done. All right, good. All right, so who would like a little guidance, a little coaching, a little help?
Hey, what does Stephanie mean? Stephanie, what do you mean by a little time lapse work?
So what I mean is that I'm going to record every time I talk to myself in the mirror and make myself more vulnerable every time and make each positive affirmation more difficult. And I'm going to put it all in one loop of a video and see how much progress I've made.
Oh, fabulous idea. Thanks.
Yes, I highly recommend everyone do one of those. That was a time that reminds me, I had recorded a bunch of affirmations, and then every morning I would meditate, and then after my meditation I would play the affirmations so I could hear myself saying it to me versus me saying it. There is certainly a powerful delivery that comes from listening to your own voice back to you, and you start to get more comfortable with it, and it starts to become more real, more believable. So whenever you can record yourself, either making affirmations or I am statements, or recording some goals and some intentions, and then every day you just listen to them, and then maybe in a week you change them up, or in a month, or whatever, or just leave them in there if it's working. So that is a great idea. Thank you, Stephanie. Wonderful suggestion. All right, so once again, is there someone here that could use some coaching, some guidance, a little help? Jump right in.
Well, I don't know if it's coaching or not, but I do want to thank the group. I have been binge listening to all these coaching calls, and I now have like 6 or 7 questions I can ask myself, and it's been very interesting. The part about soothing or escaping from or running to. So I really appreciate this. This has been very, very helpful. I've had different age groups of me come up with answers. So this morning, for example, it wasn't from the group, counseling group, that I came up with a question, or actually a statement that said, Spirit will do it for me. And Spirit is willing to remove my dysfunctional hunger by feeding me what I really want. And the next question was, what do I really want and hunger for? So I woke up this morning, and that was part of my homework, was to ask myself that question. And the first answer from me was, breathing, please. And I realized I was clenching my teeth together. And then the second one was, water, please. So this is basically about the same age group that we chatted with last time, my 7-year-old. So I've been working on just those 2 things, breathe and drink water. And it really comes from this group and, Omar, the questions that you ask. So I wrote them all down, and I've been asking myself them. It's been very, very interesting. So I just want to say thank you.
You are welcome, Wendy. And thank you for doing that homework and bringing that insight to the group. So if just thinking about the potential, the potential um, possibilities, just all the possibilities that come from re-listening to these coaching sessions. So when I coach my own personal clients, I record each and every one of their sessions. I send them back the recordings and I encourage them to listen back to it in between sessions, because what it does is it allows them to be the observer of their own coaching session. It allows them to possibly coach themselves as they listen to me ask the questions. They can re-answer the questions, or it might provoke other questions, or an event, or a different answer. So there is so much power in going back, listening to these calls. What I've noticed is even in the podcast, every week I launch a podcast episode, and one week it's an interview, and the next week it's the coaching sessions. These coaching sessions, and the coaching sessions are getting more downloads than the regular interviews. So people are looking forward to it, which means they're getting value from it. And Wendy and Stephanie are both doing incredible things with what they learn in here, which is, let me listen to these back. What helps so much is asking ourselves powerful, better questions. Because up until now, maybe we didn't know that we could ask ourselves different questions. We've been talking to ourselves in the same language. We've been using negative self-talk, and we have not been asking ourselves empowering questions. And so now, I'm not quite sure what Stephanie's showing me there. What is that? Is that your win journal, or is that I love? Read that to me, sweetheart.
It says, let all that you do be done with love.
Oh, okay. And really, that's highest intention for all of us, is to do everything that you do and be everything that you can be from a place of love. One of the more powerful sessions that we had was with Leo, and getting Leo to come out of his I hate myself shell, and to finally embrace the love and forgiveness that truly resides in all of us. So that was a nice little that was a little bit of great words of wisdom from our previous guests who are doing the work. So either a little more feedback, or potentially someone who needs some guidance. Or a question, anything. Give me anything. I'm going to even provoke Tree Life. Tree Life. So, okay, Tree Life and then Leo.
I don't know. Go for Leo, man.
Okay, no. Well, real quick, I'm curious because listening to Steph and listening to Wendy, they were able to take the sessions and then reapply it into their lives. And we've had a few sessions together. What are the tools that you have integrated into your life that have benefited you the most?
Fuck, that's a good question. I've definitely gone back and watched every single interview that I've gone with you. I have watched back, and I have gotten some. I think the biggest thing that I think is confidence to communicate. That was something that I struggled with early on with myself, my mom, a lot of family members and stuff. But I think also just with the work, I've just learned a lot about myself. I was willing to ask the questions. I think love. I've learned to love, man. and there's a lot of love in this group. You just touched on helping Leo, do the hug thing. I did a hug in one of my sessions. There was a couple other people that I remember giving yourself a hug. And earlier you were talking about, in the beginning, you were talking about changing all of your thoughts because we're used to thinking pretty poorly in our dysfunctions. And that's been my motif like the past week. I've been taking that in like my outpatient groups in like my counseling sessions. I've been talking about that. So it's interesting that gets brought up again because it's a whole entire thought process change from a lot of the things. I just shared my story on Saturday, and pulling out a lot of pulling out a lot of my demons. There's new things to look at, new things to discover, and I'm correlating a lot of the things that I was doing at 4 years old, 7 years old, 10 years old, with a lot of the behaviors that I'm doing today. And again, we do a lot of inner child work here, so that's something that I can apply to myself as well. I wrote myself a letter to my child self yesterday. I went through and took a bunch of pictures, and I print them off, and then I got a whole sheet of lined paper, and I write myself a letter about what that picture was. And there was a little picture of me, and I was on 3 big Crayola crayons, like about as big as me. And it was about being able to color the world. Some good self-expression. And those are just some of the tools that I've gotten through my recovery this time. But your recovery session is definitely one of the biggest tools I get every single week. So I like being able to listen. I like being able to be active. I was forced not to be here last week, and it was probably the only session I will ever miss. Other than that, we're good, man.
Awesome. And so that's another great exercise that Tree Life brought up. Writing a letter to your younger self and gathering photos of yourself younger than when you were a child really allows you to tap into that love and compassion that you have for yourself. As we get older, the older version of ourself is the one that tends to get into trouble or makes the mistakes. But there's this younger version of us that was childlike and innocent. And if we can think about ourselves in that way and actually physically look at a picture of ourselves younger, it is so much easier to be loving and compassionate with ourselves. And the idea of writing letters to yourself, brilliant. Well done. Another great suggestion. All right, Leo, you're up.
I don't have a negative right now. I've got a kind of positive that I'm stepping into pretty good, the sessions that I had in here with you, that was hard, but I was honest and true. And, and even in Travis, when I shared in Travis group, I beat the hell out of myself again, but I was able to, with the help of other people, get through that, so now when I share about it, it's not so bad, and and I have an event in January that's going to be just really cool. It's a mental health, it's a public mental health congress, and it's all psychologists from around the world. There's going to be like 100 countries are going to be at this thing, and it's on mental health, and addiction is one of the topics that they're going to be talking about. Well, none of them are addicts or alcoholics, none of them. So I met this lady on LinkedIn, and I said, "Are you looking for a speaker?" And she said, "Yeah." And it looks like I'm going to be keynote at the speaker in January. And before, I'd have got all panicky. What are you going to say? What are you going to do? You're going to blow it. You're going to step on your tongue. You're going to freeze. And you know what? If I freeze, I freeze. I never practice my speeches. I never go anything. I always say a prayer to God, and I say, you know what? You brought me here. You do the talking, and we're going to get through this. And I've got so much confidence that I'm absolutely going to smash that conference, and all those people are going to love me. I'm going to be the one they remember out of the whole thing. And Travis, you were writing. You're saying writing a letter to your small self. I think I'm going to write a letter to my big self, saying, you know what? Not bad, young man. Not bad. So I got a positive. I don't know if that's what you were looking for, but I got a positive.
Leo, is there any way I can help you? Is there anything that, is there any way that I can help you better prepare for that speech?
What I'd love to do, if I can, is my presentation, I think, is pretty rock solid. I said, you're doing the writing, and he did. Basically, it's on how the pandemic is going to mess up our addiction now. There's a whole new kind of addiction. Anxiety, isolation, depression, because now people like me, I'm at home with my abuser all the time. I can't go to school. So I'm being subjected to it all the time. So I told these psychologists, you're going to have to go into the DSM-5 and write something new specific to addiction. And that's what I want to talk about. So I don't know. Maybe if I freeze, I'll let you know. But right now, because you're in my heart. I'm going to be in the room doing the talking, but you're going to be the one that's going to be guiding me, just like everybody else in here is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I'm in a good spot right now, I think.
No, I know you are. I can feel you. Solid as a rock. Good man. You are going to kill it, Leo. Love you.
Love you. Thank you.
All right. We got plenty of time, folks. So who is struggling with something? Who has a question? Who has some wins? We've got some previous guests that were on here. Who would like to jump in?
I'll jump in. So
Wonderful.
listening to Leo, listening to Tree Life. So I've been going through my photographs, and there's an age group which really is in the midst of my 20s when I'm using. And I was over at my daughter's house, and that's where I have a lot of the family photographs and suitcases. And I pulled one out, and it's a picture of my mom. And this is the first time that I have not just dumped that picture back into the box, because it was the time period in which she was going through what I was going through as my kids are going through their getting clean and sober or still using. And I just looked at that and I thought, wow, I actually have appreciation for how terrified it must have been for her to be driving me across the country while I'm smoking pot and doing my thing, and she's just trying to be with me. And I thought, wow, this is going to be cool. This is going to be cool. I know a lot of this is my responsibility. I've been blocking her, but I think I found a photograph that I can begin to relate to her as woman to woman, as parent to parent, with kids that have been using. So I thought that was very cool that I didn't put that photograph back in the drawer. And I just said, I'm going to be looking at you for a while, Mom. This is very cool. And that's all I could do for the day, because I had things to do when I was over there. But I thought that was a win. I've been wondering for a while now how long I was going to block talking with her. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That is not only cool, it's absolutely beautiful. Man, I love those stories. All I kept thinking or all I kept feeling was love and compassion for her and for yourself. So as you were describing that moment and it's describing the memory, it felt as though that was room in there for love and compassion for both of you.
Yeah.
Very, very beautiful. Well done. All right. Who's next?
All right, let's go for it, Omar. I got one.
Bring it.
So let's talk about some boundaries with.
Ooh, my favorite topic.
Perfect. So along with all the letters I wrote to myself, I also wrote a goodbye letter to alcohol and drugs, which has been long overdue. I think that's another good thing to invest in if you haven't. But I had to write a letter to my father because I had to cut him off because of his alcoholism. It's been pretty much since the first of this month. His birthday was on the 5th. There was no happy birthday from me. Thanksgiving's coming up. There's not going to be no Thanksgiving, Christmas, and so on and so forth. And bless Leo, he gave me some very good advice. I have love for my father. It's not that my father's like missing, but right now his disease is rampant. And I know myself is with the disease, I'm incapable of being a good human. And right now, it's hard for me to love someone who's not a good human when my space needs to be filled with only, spirituality, recovery, discovery, self-love, all of those good things that we talk about all the time. So, it's the detachment for me is weird because I'm used to and into like losing a girlfriend. I just lose my heart right now and deal with the pain. I know that it's over with, whereas this is my father. So there's gonna be continuous times and moments where I'm gonna be like, I have to hold strong here. So me as I have my problems with my father, but I also know that there's parental issues for a lot of people in addiction, and I think that it's a good topic to discuss if like to healthily establish boundaries, in this case against your parents, if they are toxic for you. And I have a toxic father because he's been an alcoholic my whole life, and so that's my insight for right now.
So what is the question?
How do I not break down and go back on, how can I successfully carry that boundary on? Because there's going to be times where I'm going to, want to check in with my dad or when that moment comes or whatever, I also have a hard time gauging the feelings and emotions that come about it too. So I don't know if it's a question as much as it's just a thing that's has been slowly cooking. And I would rather address it now before it gets too deep.
Okay. So it sounds like you tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like what you're asking me is, how do I set boundaries with someone I don't want to set boundaries with?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Yeah. So when there is a conflict, okay, it becomes very, very difficult to hold these strong boundaries or be steadfast, because there's a part of you that knows you need to set boundaries to protect yourself, and there's a part of you that loves and misses your father. So based on that, which one of these feelings has more weight?
I think setting the boundaries for myself has more weight at this point right now.
Okay, great. So that's where you begin. First, you recognize this is really hard because I don't want to set boundaries with my father. I love my father. But in order to protect myself and protect my recovery, I'm going to have to hold some boundaries. I'm going to have to be steadfast and be clear. So, let's see. How old are you, Tree Life?
27.
27. And are your parents married or divorced?
No, they divorced a long time ago.
Okay. All right. How old were you when they divorced?
I was 4 years old when they divorced.
4 years. Yeah, I'm starting to remember this. Okay. So, yeah, and you had to go with your mom and you wanted to go with your dad.
Yep.
Okay. Now I remember. I had to go with mom. Okay. Was there a resentment towards your mother for being taken away from your father?
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's the resentment. Okay, and so how did they work out the custody?
My mom got custody. My dad had Wednesdays, every Wednesdays, nights, and every other weekend he got me.
Okay, and how were those times for you?
With my dad, they were not what I wanted. He, Saturdays and Sundays, there was sports and beer until I had to go home, Sunday evening. So I spent a lot of my time occupying myself. Wednesdays was typically no drinking involved, you know, but we'd go out to, Wednesdays were probably more of a proactive day because it was short, you know, I can, so like dinner, watch a movie, play a game of basketball or do something and then go home. So Wednesdays really were the visitation, and Saturdays and Sundays he was just drunk watching sports. And I was
Okay.
a second priority.
Okay, second priority. So right now, explain to me for what reason you need to set these boundaries.
Because I have tried to build a relationship with my father and talk with him about things that have bothered me that he did, and he's not willing to acknowledge any right or wrong, any responsibility, and he's not willing to grow with me and my relationship. And within that, I'm constantly getting abused, you know, mentally and emotionally by him. And I just don't have space for negativity in my recovery right now. I'm pretty soft and fragile, you know. I don't even. I'm closing in on my first year, but I just don't want to give him the space when it's just such an intense trigger every single time.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, but your dad's behavior is already 50% of the boundary.
Yeah,
Yeah, like this is not a my dad wants to be a part of my life and hang out with me, but he drinks whenever he's with me. It's my dad is not interested in having a relationship with me. Is that more accurate?
absolutely.
Okay. So let's be clear. Don't worry, Simon, I'm going to get to you. Let's be clear, Tree Life. To me, it doesn't sound like you're trying to set a boundary. To me, it sounds like you want something else. What do you want?
I would love to have my father, but it's not possible if he's an alcoholic.
I would love to have my father. And when you say I would love to have my father, what does that mean?
It means that he's put in some step work, not necessarily step work per se, but he's put in some work to understanding that he's an alcoholic and that he wants to have a relationship and be interested in that with me. Like when you say that you want to have me over to play cards or watch a movie, that's what we're doing. We're not bullshitting and fucking putting it off for 2 weeks because you can't follow through. I want a I don't know if I can get the positive role model growing up aspect from him, but I would at least like someone to be there to talk to about some real life shit, to lean on when I'm having a hard time, listen to me, to listen to him, to like be a friend, you know, like shit that a father and a son could have had all of their life, but still fucking working and struggling, not, you know, like fuck. Throw a dog a bone or fucking go. That's how I feel.
Okay. Okay. Does it still feel like you're trying to set boundaries with your father?
No, it feels like I'm shunning him.
Doesn't feel like that either. Tree Life, you are being way too hard on yourself, son. You're being way too hard on yourself. I know what you want. It's what everybody wants. I want my dad to want to have a relationship with me. I want a father figure and a role model in my life. I want my father to be a father. Tell me how that lands.
Sounds like I am trying to get something that I can't have.
What is that called?
Dysfunctional thinking or high expectations.
Very close. Very close. Unrealistic
Unrealistic expectations.
This is a constant in recovery. These resentments, as I was trying to figure out all the resentments I had towards people in my life, and I couldn't quite figure out what my part was in it because I had so much anger and rage and blame. And it was like, what possible part could I have to play in this? And my sister looked across from me and goes, every single one of these is an unrealistic expectation. You have this expectation of these people that is your view of the world and not theirs. And your father is incapable of being a father. And this idea of setting boundaries is more of how do I effectively communicate with my father that he is hurting me and that I desperately want a relationship with him and I'm tired of being disappointed. But if I go in there, I say this and he does not respond in kind, what does that do to my self-confidence, feeling of self-worth? It is a blow. This is why you need support. This is why you need a tribe. Because when we walk into a potential minefield filled with thoughts, feelings, and emotions, a little unclear about specifically what it is that I'm trying to communicate, then I don't communicate effectively. It falls on deaf ears and I get hurt and disappointed. And the pain sometimes is so excruciating that, well, you know what's next. All right, before I continue, Simon, come on in.
Continue with Travis. I wanted to go next if there's time.
Oh, you want to go next?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, you're going to go next.
Sorry.
All right. Okay, so now that we had a nice little, that's what we call in NLP a state change or a pattern interrupt, where we take a very heavy, deep conversation, we add a little light to it. So tell me where you're at as I deliver this information to you.
It definitely allows me to have new insight on the situation. And again, when I know that it's within my brain and I know that it can be fixed, that makes me feel a little bit better about the situation, but doesn't mean it's going to be an easy thing. I still have to correct that thought process. I have to still be real with myself, but it is true. My father is incapable of being a father, and his actions in his life are going to have to show me that whenever that time comes, if it comes. And that's not fair for me to hold on to that sick expectation in the meantime. It's not a boundary. It's a straight move on with my life. And this is precisely why I come to these meetings, man. Like, I know that the recording part of it's kind of intimidating and stuff, but it's worth it, man. Like, it is. I love being able to go back and look at myself and people's other meetings and stuff, and I love asking the questions and getting the help. It helps me. I have a lot of stuff, and you are always here to help me, Omar, and thank you, sir.
You are welcome, brother. You are welcome. And that is, for all intents and purposes, what a father's supposed to do, Tree Life. So let Leo be your father. Let me be your father. Let us, you found your way to us for a reason, because we have the ability to love unconditionally, support you unconditionally, guide you unconditionally, and recognize where you're headed, and to protect yourself and protect your heart. And that's it. So as difficult as this is, yes, the best thing for you to do is not to create boundaries, is to distance yourself from your father while you get stronger and stronger. At some point, if the opportunity presents itself, you can express yourself the same way that I just showed you how to express yourself, which is, hey, Dad, you weren't there for me, and I missed having you as a father. And this is kind of what I was hoping to get, right? But you have to come from a place of complete detachment. You cannot be attached to outcomes. You cannot be attached to results. You cannot be attached to his feelings or yours. You have to come from a place of detachment and strength. So just keep coming back here and we'll get you there. Or
I
not.
appreciate it.
Fuck him. Okay? You know what this is going to make you?
Better person.
And a great fucking dad.
Perfect. Zeus loves me, but we gotta get better.
You know what? As far as these recording goes, like I was saying, more people listen to these coaching calls than my other interviews. They love them. Thousands of people listen to these episodes every week. Every single person in here is contributing to the welfare and the well-being of people all over the world. That's an honor and a privilege. Who's been on here? Sean's been a huge help. You have. Stephanie, Wendy. Who else is? Tori's done it. Okay. Annabelle. I have the relationship with Annabelle that I do because she got vulnerable in here. Leo. Each and every one of you are contributing to the betterment of the people that are listening to these episodes. So even though it's a little scary, know that you are being of service. Well done. All right, Simon, how can I help?
Hello. So I have problems being connected to my feelings in front of people, like being vulnerable. When I was a kid, I'm a super feeler, right? So people were like, what's with this guy? So what? His dad didn't say, bye to him and I love you, and he's crying. Like this was like senior kindergarten, and I vividly remember that. And like ever since kind of when I went to public school, it was a worse transition too. Ever since then, it was just like I had walls up all the time. I still have walls up all the time, and I don't like them. Well, I do, but I don't.
Okay. So what is the question?
How do I get rid of them?
How do you bring down the walls?
Yeah.
All right. How do I bring down the walls? So, would you say that, or have you been characterized as being overly sensitive?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you're an empath.
Yes.
You feel.
True.
Okay. So I feel too much. Well, Simon, that's a gift.
Yeah.
It's a gift. And it takes a lot of time to learn how to use that gift. Okay. And the reason why I know that is because I'm an empath. Okay. And so because of that, initially, when you come to realize how sensitive you are, you avoid people
Yeah.
and uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
However, this is your guidance system. So, and this gives you a very unique opportunity to be there for people in a way that other people cannot be for them. You can cry when they cry. You can hurt when they hurt.
Yes.
It is incredibly, it's an incredible rapport building gift that you have. I'm sure that people gravitate towards you. They trust you. They tell you things. Yeah, they trust you like right away, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you feel overwhelmed.
Regularly.
Okay. All right. So let's see if we can figure out if this feeling that you feel is really is really fear, or maybe it's something else. So I feel anxious, overwhelmed, fearful, all those negative emotions, right?
Yeah. Yeah, my fingers are destroyed constantly because I just am so, and I'm on like a nice cocktail of meds that are supposed to help. And they, do to some extent, but there's an underlying issue there, and I know that, and I can't figure out what it is.
So if you weren't on the meds, what are the symptoms what was the reasons why the doctors put you on the meds?
Self-destructive tendencies. I distance myself from people. I get serious cases of the fuckets just randomly once the emotion builds up. Like, I definitely recognize that the reason why I keep going out and keep relapsing is because I keep all this stuff stuffed way, way down.
Okay, you know what else you have? A lot of self-awareness, Simon.
Yeah.
Okay, you recognize that you're repressing and suppressing feelings, emotions, thoughts. So, man, you're already halfway there.
Yeah.
And so,
I feel like I've been halfway there for a long time.
yeah, well, let's see how far we can get today. So let's see. So give me an example of something you've got stuffed in there that you feel comfortable sharing with the group.
And there's the lump. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask a different question. What are the feelings associated with that question that I just asked you? So I just said, tell us one of those things that you've got stuffed down in there that you feel comfortable sharing with the group, and you felt something. What did you feel?
Anxiousness, just fear, generally, like worry.
Anxiousness and fear. Okay. So anxious, fear, hold on.
And worry.
And worry.
I would classify that as a bit different because that's more related to what you're gonna think. Like, and I know it's a safe place, but
No. Hey, listen.
Irrational, right? Like that's the thing. I know it's irrational.
It's only irrational if you believe it is. Okay, so irrational and rational is your interpretation of the world, it's your map of the world. So one of the things is, Simon, I invite you to choose for yourself what your thoughts are. Are these rational thoughts or these irrational thoughts? But you be the one to decide whether they are or aren't.
Yeah.
And so I want to remind you that anxiety and fear and worry is in the future. These are things that have not happened yet. So let's not discuss what's stuffed inside. Let's talk about the anxiety and fear and worry you have about what would happen if they came out.
Well, I want to get them out. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that I can get out, you know?
No, but before we go there, they're all in there. They're all in there. I have a fear. I'm worried. I'm anxious. If I say this, then what?
Hmm. I mean, I want to say I don't know, but I have some ideas, you know, like I'm I don't know is a big crutch for me, you know, it's like, yeah,
No,
I'm
I
just,
don't know is a wall.
yeah,
All I don't know is I ain't telling you. Okay. And you don't have to tell me. I just want you to tell me what you think is going to happen if you do tell me.
I will be vulnerable.
Okay. Let's start there. I will be vulnerable. Okay. And for what reason are you afraid to be vulnerable?
A large part is judgment. I mean,
Okay.
a large part is just that I haven't been since I was a child. And I don't really know what it feels like.
Okay. I will be judged. I haven't been vulnerable since I was a child.
Yeah, well, I've, you know, when the bucket overflows, like it's usually in a yelling match with my parents, and then
Mm-hmm. Okay.
yeah,
So you said child. How old were you before you didn't feel comfortable sharing your thoughts, feelings, and emotions?
like 7, I guess.
Can you
Once I
tell me
moved to
about,
Ottawa, basically.
huh?
Once I moved to Ottawa, I think that was a big catalyst.
Years old, moved. And so what happened when you moved to Ottawa?
Well, it was a really big transition for me. I didn't know anyone. I was already like, it just took me completely out of my comfort zone, and I was constantly worried because, you know, I didn't know what people were going to think of me. I was so different.
I didn't know
I
what
come
people were going to think of me because I was so different. How were you different?
I grew up in, you know, a tiny little town called Winterburn in Ontario, and anybody who lives in Ontario would be like, "Where's that?" It's like hole in the wall, you know. And then coming to the capital, I mean, just like the way people talked and acted and, you know, spoke to each other was completely different. There was like immediately that sense of, okay, I'm not welcome here, you know, especially once I went, because I grew up in a Christian school, you know, like in Winterburn, and my parents are both Christian. Now I would consider myself more of a Buddhist, but regardless, like when I came here from, you know, a private Christian school and went to public school, it was a really, really big change. Even just the private school that I went to here for 2 years was like, just, yeah, people treated each other like shit.
Okay. So that means they must have treated you like shit.
Yeah,
What were some of the things they would do to you or say to you?
I don't know. I'd be like, hey, can, you know, like I join in, and they'd be like, no, you're mean. And you,
No, you're mean?
yeah,
You're mean.
yeah.
Okay. And where did they get that from?
Well, a big part of it was this one kid, just like still to this day, like he's very fake. And even as a child, he would Like, I lie, but I don't lie to hurt other people. I lie to protect myself. He was lying to hurt people. So he lied to his mom. My mom and his mom were best friends. And he would tell his mom stories that I was, saying things that I never had said. And because I had lied to my parents to not get in trouble, and I still do, even though I'm 19. um, like, they couldn't believe me necessarily because I lie. And I know this wasn't my addict brain, because still to this day, people who know this guy and actually know him know he is super manipulative. And it took a big toll on me because I'm forced to hang out with him. My brother and his older brother and his older sister were all friends. And so he's my age, so I got stuck with him. And he would kind of torment me at school, like I'd be sitting in the corner of the soccer field crying and, he'd come over and like kick dirt on me or,
Bully.
yeah.
So not only is he's a liar and he's a bully.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
one day, like
Mhm.
4 years later, hadn't seen him in 4 years, shows up at my school, and now he's a student there, grade 8 before I go on to high school. And he's like, "Hey man, good to see you. It's been a long time." And he just acted like my best friend, like
Uh-huh.
it put me off a lot in that sense. Like, I don't feel like I could trust anybody after that, because I did trust him. Well, I didn't know any better when I was younger, right? Like, I trusted him, and he was my best friend at one point, and then he wasn't.
So let me backtrack. Can I join in? No, you're mean. What did you do to him?
Nothing.
So what was where was that characterization of you being mean?
I honestly have no idea to this day. Like,
You got to have some idea.
that's the thing, I don't. Like,
Guess, Simon. Guess. Best guess.
I honestly don't know. Like, maybe, I said something one time and it hurt him, but I couldn't think of what that could be. Like I said, he was my, best friend at the time.
Okay, so is there a possibility that you may have hurt his feelings?
It's possible.
Okay, so he shows up 4 years later and acts like nothing happened.
Yeah.
And so what were you expecting him to do or say?
Nothing. I expected that I would stay away from him and he would stay away from me, and we would not talk to each other.
And that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask again. Okay, so for what reason, if he came up to you acting like nothing was wrong, would you want to distance yourself from him? Because of what?
Because he treated me like shit for like 2 straight years and basically made everybody except this. Well, yeah, I don't know. I know he was really close with a girl, and then like this was like grade 2 though. I don't think it would have been, jealousy at that point. I mean, I don't really know the typical male age where they start to get feelings, but like I just became really close friends with this person, and um she still hasn't really seen through his farce, even though people keep telling her like, you shouldn't hang out with him anymore. Like, and there's a lot of layers.
There is actually, Simon, here's the good news. There isn't a lot here. I'm spiraling down. I'm zoning in, right? I got my tractor beams on. And so I'm looking at this situation and go, okay, so what I want is I want to be able to be vulnerable. I have all this stuff stuffed inside of me. I say, can you give me an example of what that stuff is? Lump. Okay. So what has happened here is once I stop trusting him, I stop trusting myself.
Yeah.
I don't trust me. I have no idea what the potential consequences could be if I open my mouth. Maybe I hurt him. Maybe I hurt myself. Maybe I hurt someone else because I'm a liar and he's a liar and he lied about me. And sometimes I lie, but I lie to protect myself. And I can't trust him. And he violated my trust. And now he's running around free as a bird, hurting people and lying to them. Sound about right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what seems to be coming up for me is I don't know what to do.
I'm not even close to him anymore, but it's one thing that, still really bugs me. And it probably will for a long time if I don't deal with it, like
Okay.
I haven't talked to him in like 3 years. And the last time I did, I just saw him at a shoe store.
And you've probably froze up.
No, I just kind of put on my fake face and acted like it was all good because that's what he was doing. And I was like, all right, cool. I mean, whatever.
Okay.
But
So, Simon, why is this still bugging you?
because it's fucking annoying. Like, if I'm being honest, it just pisses me off so much that he's still doing this to people. Like, he's doing what he did to me to other people, like an actual like relationships where complex emotions are involved. Like, at that point I was young, so I didn't fully have that kind of like complex emotional understanding of what's going on, and now I get it. Now I understand what he's doing. And my best friend, like, now he's in a relationship with one of his ex-girlfriends, and she's like, holy fuck, he was toxic. He just lied to me and cheated on me, and I kept going back. And it's like, that's how I felt. And I was just his friend, like, I couldn't imagine that. And that pisses me off so much.
All right. We got some of that stuff out there. You just took a deep breath. Do it again.
You got to be careful. You get me breathing too much, I'll start crying.
It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay. Breathe it in. Breathe in love. Release hate. Love. Hate. You're carrying a big burden, man. Simon, you are carrying a burden that is too big for you. This is way too big a burden for you. You cannot carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. And that's what you're doing. What did you learn from this experience?
I don't know. I'm getting closer to bringing down the walls.
What did you learn from your relationship with him?
I guess big picture. Sometimes I'm too trusting and it gets me into trouble.
Describe
Like
too
with another
trusting.
one of my Oh man, just totally. Now I'm seeing all the parallels I didn't see before with a really toxic relationship I had with somebody, and this was more recent. Like this was like a year ago, and I was, like kind of living on the streets at that point. And so these guys came looking around for this one guy who slept with the other guy's girlfriend, and so he's an acquaintance of mine, good friend of my best friend Riley. And Riley tells him, "Oh, I don't hang out with him anymore. Ask Simon." And these guys are like gang affiliated shooters. The last time I had seen them, they said, "Tell Aaron that we're waiting for him." And he pulled a, sawed-off shotgun out of his pants. Like downtown Ottawa, Rideau Street, which is the main drag where police are there all the time. Like these guys don't really give a shit about anything. They kill people. And my best friend, and I didn't even know about this until like after I'd been through rehab, and my mom was like, "Hey, I went through your Instagram and he was signed in on your phone, and I saw that he said this to them." And like, again, same thing. I trusted him so fucking much, and he's just like literally could have gotten me killed.
So what did you learn from that relationship?
Every time you ask that question, it's like, I fucking hate that person. That's my immediate reaction, like, but anger is a wall too.
Anger is a wall. But anger released will allow you to feel some peace, Simon. So fuck him, okay, and fuck them. And at some point, you're gonna have to just, get in your room, close the door when nobody's around, grab a pillow, and just throw a tantrum. But like a real nasty, wicked tantrum, and just motherfuck everybody and just get it out of you. Because here's the thing, you're an empath.
Yeah.
And so here's what happens. You feel people, but because you're so young, you may be misdiagnosing what that feeling is. So maybe somebody is unhealthy or toxic or dangerous or not ready to change and evolve.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, sorry, I'm just gonna like, I fucking loved Riley like a brother. Like I literally thought of him as my younger brother. Like I loved him. And I just, that's tough. Like I feel like I've been betrayed so deeply. Like,
keep going.
it's not fair, man. Like fucking assholes.
There we go.
I don't know why I do it to myself. Like,
Do you see it now?
no. I'm sorry, I don't.
It's because it's too painful. When you're an empath, you don't just love at the same level as others. You love 10 times. And you don't hate the way others, you hate 10 times. And you don't get disappointed like others, you get disappointed 10 times. So every time you get hit with an emotion, you get hit 10 times.
Yeah.
And so I hide. I become an introvert. I don't put myself in social settings because I can't take these feelings.
Yeah. I was born an extrovert and turned into an introvert. Like as a child, I would talk to strangers and my parents were like, "Don't do that." And I still would. And then
I lose myself in the emotion.
Yeah.
I loved him so much and he hurt me. See, anger, this is what's so great, Simon, about anger, because there's your truth. Underneath the anger, once released, is the love that you felt, the hurt that you felt, the disappointment that you felt. And I'd rather feel angry and numb than hurt and sad and disappointed, because that pain is too much to bear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know how to express myself effectively without feeling as though I appear weak and scared and small. I am feeling you, brother. I am feeling you because I am you. I am you. I was there. Picked on, bullied, made fun of. I didn't know how to be me. I didn't know how to be me.
Yeah.
You have a gift. You have the same gift that I have. And that gift is going, at the moment, it feels like it's the wrong gift. However, as soon as you learn how to use it effectively, you will be able to recognize the people that deserve your love.
Yeah.
And even if you misjudge your feelings or you misjudge the person, what you won't do is judge yourself. This is my gift. This is who I am. I love and I care too much. I feel too much. So as soon as I recognize that I'm around people that are not good for me, I bail, I bolt, I get out of there fast. But I don't give up. Because what's going to happen is you're going to find a group like this one where we need your love. We need that. We need people that are loving and understanding and compassionate and are instant connectors. This is your tribe. You are safe here. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel disappointed, and it's okay to say it. But you haven't found the safe place to say it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm moving out because I don't have a safe place.
So, after we landed the spaceship, how are you feeling now? There you go. There you go.
Cool, calm, collected.
That's the beauty of youth. It works so fast.
Yeah, well, internally I'm not cool, calm, and collected, but yeah.
You sound more cool, calm, and collective.
Yeah, I have a background in musical theater, so I'm pretty decent at putting away Simon for a bit.
Buddy, that's what we are. Oscar award-winning performers.
Yeah.
You have all these gifts, Simon. Okay, don't be afraid to showcase them. If you showcase them to the wrong people, you blow them off, you move on. What we don't do is we don't attach ourselves to these feelings that because someone else does not accept who we are, that we are not enough.
Mhm.
It's never on us.
Yeah.
It's always on them.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that way a lot of the time.
You'll get there. You'll get there. All right, Tree Life, go ahead. We're way over. Go.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say first of all, thank you, Simon, for coming to the table and teaching me a lot. About myself, but also about yourself. You've been pretty active in the community, so you gave me some ammunition. I'm gonna push you on the outside of these meetings. I hope you know that. Yeah, but you will know that my love is, it's tough love, man, and in a lot of the ways, what you're dealing with is very similar to with, my father. Not the same parallels, but
Mhm.
I think we all come into recovery the first time seeking identity, and in a lot of ways, we do not know who we are. So, it's being discomforting. Yeah, bro, it's gonna feel that way, but you have been putting an application and coming here for at least the past, 2.5, 3 weeks, man. So as long as you keep doing that, you will find your identity. It's just gonna take time. Omar's told me about this several times, man. I bang my head up against the wall with you, man. You're not alone, and you'll be all right, man. Don't worry about it, dude. You're good.
Thanks,
Excellent.
Travis. Appreciate
Stephanie?
that, man.
I just want to say, Simon, I mean, it's really good to like learn about you. I mean, getting bullied and letting those labels define us is so hard not to do. I mean, I get it wholeheartedly. And when I was 19, I had no idea who the fuck I was. So that's admirable of you, and your self-awareness is key. And that's amazing. And you learn that, and you start self-awareing how you're feeling when you wake up in the morning. How am I feeling today? Ask yourself, how am I feeling? And let it resonate, be with it, enjoy it. We all love you here. We all are trusting, and you can be your whole self with us. Don't ever doubt that.
Thanks, Stephanie. Appreciate that.
Beautiful, beautiful. What's the kid's name again? Was it Randy, Randall?
There's Riley and there's Joel.
Okay,
Riley's the one
Riley.
that almost got me killed.
Okay, Riley and Joel. So I want you to write 2 letters, one to Randy and one to Joel, that you're not going to send.
Riley, not Randy.
Sorry, Riley. Riley and Joel. Sorry. So Riley and Joel, I want you to write a letter to each of them that you're not going to send. And I want you to write all the myriad of emotions that came up in your relationship. I loved you like a brother. You hurt me. You disappointed me. When you said this, it made me feel like this. Write it all out. Okay?
Sorry, I just saw what Leo said. Kill me, man.
What are you doing, Leo?
Not
Omar
even
hates
that funny, I'm
Randy.
just-
Who's Randy?
Fucking Randy.
Okay, fucking Randy. That fucking guy. All right. Fortunately,
I
there's
don't
no
know, but
Randy.
you hate him, man.
I don't know Randy either. I know Riley.
Okay, so we're just gonna write a letter to Riley and to Joel, and you're just gonna go ahead and go through all your emotions. All right, and then I want you to watch those emotions. Just watch them as they come up. As you're writing them, they're just gonna come to the surface. Let them be. Don't try and repress. Don't try and repress. You don't have to share them with anybody. As a matter of fact, when you're done writing it all out, you can just light it on fire.
I will do that. I will.
Okay. That way you can write exactly what you want to say in every facet and then light it up knowing that it's never going to be read by anyone. This is not about justice. This is not about getting even or getting back or getting over. This is about releasing all of that stuff that's inside of you first on paper, and then you let it go by lighting it on fire. Got it?
Got it. Sorry
Well
for going
done,
way
Simon.
over.
What's that?
I said sorry for going way over.
No. It's fine. As a matter of fact, when I shrink this down, because, I have to wait for people to jump in, it usually ends up being like 45 minutes. So this one will be about an hour. Anyway, we're over, but Tree Life, Simon, Stephanie, who else chimed in? I think those were the first 2, right? I think there was somebody else. All right. Anyway, I love you all. Great job. Big hand for everyone. Oh, Wendy. Well done. I love you guys. See you next week. Another amazing recovery coaching call. Be well and be gentle and kind with each other.
Love you guys.
Love you too.